I'm guessing you've heard of the term writer's block. Well, that's where I've been on this car, more of a creative block. Trying to figure out my next move. I have some things that are important, however, I don't know exactly how to tackle them. So I think I've finally broken through that block, and in this video I kind of want to get through a couple things just to kind of get the ball rolling and to get back where we want to be. So I'll show you those right now. One thing we'll be working on is this rear firewall. You can see how close it is to the frame. If you've been following along, I said I was going to add another body mount, which I've got right here. So we have a total of 6 in the cab area. You can see one there, one in the middle, and one in the back. And obviously the same over here. And so now I'm ready to start getting something figured out for the floor structure. And as we get going, I'll kind of explain what my thoughts are. But right now, or one of the other things I'm going to do in this video is get this center section of the crossmember cut out. I've got to slide the transmission or the engine and transmission forward about 1/2 inch, and so I'll get the crossmember out, cut out that middle section, get the crossmember back in, and get the center section of that crossmember bolted up to the transmission, and then we will weld it in place. But anyway, I think where I'm going to start is on this back wall here. So I'm going to go ahead and get some metal moved into the garage. All right, here you can see I've got a piece of 1x square tubing. I have marked where I want to put this bar, and then I'm going to use this bar as a straight edge with the plasma cutter. So once I get this cut, I'll recess that 1x deep enough into the sheet metal where I can spot weld the sheet metal to the top of this bar, and that'll give me a good way of sealing up that joint or that connection. So I'm going to go ahead and get this cut. Then I'll probably cut down these bars and get those welded in. Might actually weld it in as one piece and then cut it so that I know it's straight across. Here you can see I've got that 1x square tubing spot welded in place. Obviously it's not finished. I still got to clearance that section for the drive shaft. But you can kind of get an idea why I did this. So I've got that flat straight across, and then it's, I don't have to mess with trying 2 pieces. So I'll be clearancing that, but before I do, I'm going to have to put a piece somewhere around here, before it kicks up to match the height of that one. So it'll be a shelf, which was kind of how this was made originally. In the original Ranchero, there was a bit of a shelf and then dropped down to the floor. I'll be using 1-inch square tubing, or the 1x2, to mock up the height of the floor. So I'll be spanning the 1x across, and I'm probably going to set 2 or 3, and then I will be able to project that line toward the front to the firewall, so I'll know how much material that I'm going to need for the firewall. So yeah, the next thing we're going to do is probably pull this cross member and get that adjusted. That's pretty important for my next steps. So stay tuned. We'll be doing that here shortly. We're getting started on getting the transmission cross member modified. So I'll show you where we're at right now. So here you can see I've got the engine hoist holding up kind of the back side of the engine. I wanted to slide it forward a little bit. I think I've already slid it forward a little too much. This is going to be the ride height. I'm trying to get everything set right now, but I think what I need to do is get the cross member modified, get the tail shaft set at the angle that I want, and then we'll just work from there. Right now, this drive shaft at ride height is almost perfectly flat, which basically means that whatever our angle is here, that's our working angle, and then whatever our angle is here is our working angle. So what I'm going to do to get everything adjusted, I'll get that in place, and then since we do have the 4-link, I will just adjust out the angle so that we have the angle that we need. So right now I'm going to remove this cross member. I'm going to get that center section cut out. I'll get that bolted back in, and I'll bolt the center section to the transmission, and then that way we can weld it in where we want it. All right, so now that I have this out, the plan is to cut the welds holding the center section into these 2 brackets. Once I get these cut out, once I get these welds cut, I'm going to clean all the metal up and through here. I'll clean this metal, remount these back in the car, and then I will bolt this up to the transmission, get the transmission at the angle that I want, and then we will tack weld. I'll pull this back out and I'll fully weld it. So once I get these separated, I'll come back and show you how it's going to look before we put it back in the car. Well, here you can see we now have 3 pieces. So I'm going to jump in the car, truck, whatever this thing's called. I'm going to go ahead and bolt this side in and this side in. I'll get this bolted up to the transmission, and we will see how things line up. And I'll also work on getting that tail shaft angle where I want it, and then we'll get this tack welded. I'll pull it back out, do a full weld, but you can see what I did here. I got this all cleaned up. I got this one all cleaned up, and I've got this all cleaned up. So I'm gonna jump in the vehicle, get these 2, like I said, bolted in, and get this bolted up to the transmission and see how everything lines up. I'll show you all that before I weld, and then we'll go from there. If you guys weren't aware, I only get a few hours a night to work on this thing, so I wasn't able to get a whole lot done last night, but let's take a look. I did get these 3 pieces stitched back together. So I got some welds on. I'm gonna take this back out and get it on the welding table, and I'm gonna get it welded up all the way around, put it back in, and we should be good for now. All right, so we have the cross member back in after we got it welded up. I do have the bolts holding the mount, the transmission mount. Got these bolts in, and we are good and tightened up over here. So the next thing I'm going to do is check the angles here on the drive shaft and then also on the rear end. So I'm going to do that probably off screen. I do have the headers reinstalled. I did tighten the motor mounts so we're secure for the motor. I've tightened the transmission mount. The headers are back in place. These are the original headers that I put in. I think they provide the most clearance for the control arms, and I just think overall, even though they do have that collector, the 3-bolt collector, they're going to be probably the better solution. If you've watched my videos, you'll know I tried a different set of headers. I have the Crossmember fully welded up, back in place. The drive shaft is in at right height. I've got the angle set where I want it, but I don't know if you can tell right now, we're all the way down. But we'll take a quick look. So with it all the way down, we still have some clearance on the drive shaft, output shaft. I can still push the transmission back a little bit if I want to close that up. And you can see we've got the clearance on the rear firewall. I don't know if you can tell, but I cleaned the windows. But I'm going to go ahead and remove the drive shaft, and I went to the junkyard today and picked up a couple items that are going to help me with getting the floor laid out. So I'll probably show you those here in just a second. Well, here's what I got at the junkyard. I got 2 front seats out of a 99 Honda Accord. They met all the criteria for what I was looking for. I was looking for something manual and kind of low with a low back bucket. These had a removable headrest. I took those off. I did not buy those. I will be recovering them and dyeing the panels. And if you've seen any of my upholstery videos, this is going to give me another opportunity to make another video, as well as show another project on upholstery. I'm using 2x4s, and I'm approximately a ½ an inch shorter than what I'm going to be when I actually do the floor. So the seat's going to probably be up about ½ an inch higher than it is now. I will have to remove the original mounting tabs. The shape is not right, so I'm going to cut those off, make some flat tabs. I will have to do a center console to make clearance for the drive shaft tunnel, and so I'll build a console. Yeah, just kind of wanted to show you what I was up to today, other than getting that cross member done and getting the rear firewall started so that I can start on the floor. So the floor is probably the next thing that I'm going to work on, and yeah, hopefully you'll follow along on that. If you have any questions, put those in the comments below. And if you want to see the detail of what I'm doing with these seat brackets to get those how I want them, put that in the comments below. I'm just kind of looking to see what you guys want to see. But I do believe the floor will probably be the next. If you have any questions or comments about the whole project, I'd love to hear them. Always looking for input from people that have experience doing stuff like this. Again, this is my first time doing it. I am open to criticism, and I am open to any ideas. So, thanks for watching.